Hi, boys and girls. So, welcome to Writer's Workshop. Okay, so this week we had our first lesson talking about reading workshop. So, we're going to start talking about Writer's Workshop this week. Okay, so first, and I'll keep trying to move myself a little bit so you can see everything. Okay, so let's first talk about what Writer's Workshop is. It's a safe place for all of you writers, every single one of you. It's a place where you get to pick what you want to write about. It's a place where you will write every day and work on building your stamina just like you do for readers. It is a place to make mistakes and grow because we don't expect you to be a perfect writer in terms of your sentences and your handwriting. We just expect you to grow and improve. It's a place to learn from other authors and illustrators. Okay, so professional published authors and illustrators are considered the experts. And so we use things like mentor texts and books to help us become better writers. And it is a place to celebrate reading and writing. It is a place to take risks. Writer's Workshop is a place to share with other writers. And it's a place to learn the language, which would be for us English, and the rules of English in our writing. Okay, so what can you expect at the beginning of Writer's Workshop? Okay, so we're going to launch this awesome thing called Writer's Workshop. And the types of writing activities in our first writing unit that you can expect are journal free writes, which is we're going to get going on our first one today. We're going to have gratitude writings. There will be Raz Kid writing activities. There will be different seesaw writing activities. And this trimester, we will be creating a personal narrative. Nope, you are not getting all these in one day. They're just spread out through the week, and you can just expect these kinds of writing activities throughout the first trimester. Okay? Okay, so the next question is, why do we write? Okay, something important to talk about at the beginning of Writer's Workshop, because we know a lot of you young writers, writing is not always your favorite, and it can be very frustrating. So first, we just want you to know how important it is and why we write. And here are some really great answers. So it doesn't matter what age, we're always writing to understand. We're always writing for people to understand us as well. We write to change minds. We write to be understood. So yesterday we talked in math where Mrs. Hortzman was having you guys do a short video on explaining your thinking. So even in math, we're always writing and we want people to understand us. We write because it's required. We write because we care. We write because we want to make a difference. We write because we feel like it. And we write because we can. Okay, so I love this little quote that I saw here on the right. And I love those that kind of really stick with my pointer and follow along with that. It says, you learn to write better by reading. You learn to read better by writing. Reading and writing work together to improve your ability to think. So that very last word, that is the number one reason, boys and girls, why we write. Because reading and writing together improve, remember that elastic brain we talked about in our story. It continues to allow us to think and grow. Okay, so we have no doubt that writing is hard. And I see this little picture of this frustrated student. But we know, boys and girls, just like this little growth mindset here versus this fixed mindset, we have and fully understand writing could be hard for you. But we also know you're able to do amazing things. So amazing things happen when you try. So we kind of have a kind of warning sign here that there is going to be hard work ahead, and that's okay. So remember, I see writing as one of the biggest obstacles besides math in a school year for you third graders to work hard to keep a positive mindset. Because if you do, you will learn to enjoy writing, and you look forward to your writing time every day. So, some of the things I wanted you to hear were failure is an opportunity to grow. And especially this one in the middle of a growth mindset, challenges help me to grow. And I like new things. And I can learn to do anything I want. Versus when I'm frustrated, I give up. Okay. So failure kind of limits you. So we want you to work so hard this year. Okay. We want to celebrate writing as much as we celebrate our reading because they're both so important to each and every one of us. Okay. So let's work really hard starting today to keep a positive mindset in writing. Okay. So we see it as this is an opportunity to celebrate. We're going to celebrate all of our classroom authors. Each of you are a writer. Okay, so that means we're gonna write, and you guys are gonna write. And we're gonna learn about this thing called the writing process. We're gonna talk about author's craft, which is your own toolbox, and we're definitely gonna read. So let's celebrate. Okay, so one time a year that we do all celebrate is going into the new year. Well, it's not the end of December going into it, but this is a new year for us. So we're going to do it in writing style. Okay, so Happy New Year to you, writing style. Okay, and so at the beginning of the year, we hear people talking about New Year's resolutions. Okay, so we're kind of clapping and cheering right now. This is going to be an awesome time for all of us. So the second line right here says, today we're going to make New Year's resolutions to be the best writers we possibly can be. So if you don't know what a New Year's resolution is, I kind of put some pictures here. Okay, it means goals. We're going to set goals for ourselves as writers. Okay, we're going to set a goal, have a plan, and then we're going to act on it. Okay? So I loved this picture that I found. Just like we practiced in reading, we know that readers set goals. Well, so do writers. They set a goal, they make a plan, they get to work, they stick to it until they reach their goal, and that makes us feel good. Okay? So that's where we're actually going to start today. We're going to start as writers and working on setting some goals. Okay? So our learning goal today is to learn about how authors make New Year's resolutions, which means they set their goals, okay, and write new things. So this page, I did some research and found a whole bunch of things that the authors have advice for young writers like you. I'm not going to read them all, but I'll pick a few. So I know you all know Jeff Kinney, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Well, this was some advice he has for you, boys and girls. He said, when it comes to writing, take your time because writing takes time. He said, get this, it took him over 10,000 hours for over 10 years to even be ready to share his story, his ideas of Diary of a Wimpy Kid to the world. Okay, and he also said this one. He said, be willing to find an expert who can give you some criticism. That kind of means kind of help you and give you some advice about your writing. He said, but it can't be your family and it can't be your closest friends. It has to be someone other than them because he said if it was your friends and family, you won't grow as much. Okay? What are some other things some professional writers, experts said? They said you've got to persevere and you've got to be patient. They said write about what excites you and fascinates you. Up here it says you have to work for it and never give up. Don't stop believing in yourself. Guess who said that? That was J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter. They said be concerned with doing good work. And we'll end with this one right here. They all said you got to write, write, and write, and write again, and again, and again. And when you write again and again, you will get it right. So listen to all this wonderful advice from these authors on us setting goals for ourselves to grow as writers. Okay, so one of the big ones they said, even like this, because we talked that we're going to have to learn some language things about English, right? This year, and Mrs. Schwartzman has started to talk about nouns and proper nouns and common nouns and your verbs. This is when you'll be studying that the authors mentioned in my research today. They said, try something new. That was their advice. Learn something new and try to use it. So an example here, these are called conjunctions. They said, maybe get a list of conjunctions. And in your sentences today, try to use and, or, nor, but, yet, or. And then they said there's 100 of them. I can't, really? You kidding me? 100 different words we could try just to do something different in our sentences today. Okay, so great advice from our experts. So here are some possible writing goals that I came up for you guys. I know you're not, grown up writers, and that's okay. Okay, and we'll come back to these. So today, where you are going to start, you're going to be kind of an author at work. And so we're going to help you with what is called a writer's notebook. Another word that means the same thing as journal. So we're going to help you reach your goals, and you will all get to use a writer's notebook, which looks like your little black and white one, or some of you have some decorated ones, and that is okay. Okay, so let's talk about your do's and don'ts in your writer's notebook. Okay, so this page says things you should do with your writer's notebook. Okay, each day you're going to add 2 Post-its to your journal. You're going to write stories that have a beginning, middle, and end. You're going to write on the lines and stay in the margins. So as third graders, we're going to start teaching you that you have to stay in the lines, and your lines are a lot smaller. So it's going to take some practice. You're going to use front and back of the pages. You're going to print so it's easily readable. So we call that so your writing is legible. When you're writing in your notebook, you just keep writing. You're never done. So a famous quote in writing is, when I'm done, I've just begun, which means you're going to work hard and be patient, put in the time and the effort, and you're just going to keep on going. You're going to take risks and try new writer's craft that you learn. And most importantly, we want you to write stress-free. Okay? You can work on fixing and revising, and you can mark up. Okay, it's okay that sometimes it's a little messy, because mistakes are proof that you are trying. We don't want you trying to write to be perfect. We don't want your writing to be perfected. Lastly, your challenge in your notebook every day is to beat the daily challenge given to you. So we call that a daily challenge goal. Okay, beating it, keeping that growth mindset. Okay, staying positive. What are some things you shouldn't be doing in your notebooks? Well, let's read this. It says, do not write messy, because you have to read it as much as we do. And so if we ask you to read us your writing, we can't help you as much. We can't give you the coaching we want to. So work hard and remember that, because sometimes when you are reading to classmates, you can't get that expert help. Remember, if we can't read and understand what you're trying to say. So print work is really, really important. Do not doodle. That means no sketching or drawing all over or in your writer's notebook. This is not your playground journal. Do not skip pages. Do not ignore the lines and the margins. We don't want you writing down the middle of the page, or writing this way and then this way. We don't want like this zigzag. Okay, so please do not ignore the lines or the margins and go side to side. Okay, left to right. Do not write or speak with a fixed mindset as when we're writing in our writer's notebooks. And please do not rip out pages. Okay, so today you're learning, and I'm going to model this for you. Okay, so here are the steps. You're going to open your journal to the first blank page. I'm explaining right now, and then you can do it with me. We're going to write today's date on the line or in the margin, you can choose. You're going to add 2 Post-its every day right away. Okay, if they're not sticking very well, then you might want to use some tape to tape them down. Post-it 1, you're going to pick a writing goal for the day and write it down. Post-it 2, you're going to do a little bit of brainstorming. Just come up with 3 or 4 different ideas. Brainstorming helps get our brains going a little bit. Pick an idea to write about and begin writing right away. So you'll pick one of your ideas. Then write the entire time, stress-free, no stress. Just keep that growth mindset, put in that time and effort, and you're good. Okay, so be patient, don't quit. Remember, writing takes time and a lot of hard work. Lastly, work to beat today's writing challenge. Today's writing challenge is to write for 15 straight minutes without stopping, filling 15 lines or more. If you fill your 15 lines, not zigzagging and going short line, long line, you got to go margin to margin every time. That's the challenge. Then keep writing, because remember, when I'm done, I've just begun. So you write until that clock beeps. Okay? If you run out of a story, then you could just skip a line and start a whole new story if you need to in that time. Okay? So Mrs. Hortzman or I will have these goals posted for you. Okay? And you're going to choose one of these goals to work on in your writer's notebook today. 1, you could choose to make sure your sentences make sense. You could work to make sure that your sentences are at least 6 words long. You could write a certain number of words today. You could set that goal. You could work on using a capital letter at the beginning of your sentences and include an end mark. You could work on using in writing a beginning, middle, and end to whatever you're writing. You could work on beating today's writing goal. You could play tag with your sentences. And one of the last 2 you could choose is work on writing legibly and working on staying in those margins going left to right. Or lastly, you could work just today on building your stamina by filling as many lines as you can without stopping. But sometimes we do stop to reread our writing, maybe to fix something real quick or change it or just to keep our mind going, and that would be okay. All right, so let me model for you what all of that looked like, and then you can get started on your writing. Here we go, writers. Happy writing. Okay, hi boys and girls. Here is the schedule, okay, or the steps. So you're going to open up your journal to the first page. So you have your black and white writer's notebook that you decorate or you're getting to decorate, okay? And then it says, write today's date on the line or in the margin. What that means is you could choose to put the date. So today is the 23rd. You could choose to put your date on that line every day. But it's also okay if you chose to put it over here in the margin. So when it says on the margin, you can do it alongside here and put the date, or each time you add a writing, you can go ahead and put the date in before you write. You get to choose as a writer. Okay. The next step says add 2 Post-its. And I apologize if my cat meows. Okay, so you're going to put in both Post-its. And it says if they are not sticking very well, or you don't like how they kind of flap up and down, just one little piece on there kind of does the trick. Okay, so on Post-it 1, you're going to write a writing goal. On Post-it 2, you're going to brainstorm. Okay, so the goals we had, okay, and your teacher will have these in the room, okay, or those of you are remote learners, you can always kind of go back and forth with the slides, okay. So you're going to choose one to work on, okay. So my goal is going to be beat today's writing goal, today's writing challenge. So I'm going to write that on my Post-it. Beat today's writing challenge. And I know that the writing challenge today was 15 plus lines and to keep going. So if I reach my 15 lines, I know that I have to keep going. So something that's always helped me in my journal is if I go over here to the margin, you don't want to be in your writing. You'd want to do it on the outside, just like with the date. Sometimes I like to count, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and we usually don't write on this very bottom line right here. But it did say don't skip pages, and you do want to use the back side, okay? So then I would put my 2 X's. Again, it's very important. If you're going to do these X's, don't ever put them on this side of the red line, okay? Because these X's are being used for counting, okay? So in the directions today, it says to add your 2 Post-its. Post-it 1, set your goal. Done, check. Post-it 2 says brainstorm 3 or 4 ideas. So if I just write brainstorm 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's a list. Okay, you're not actually writing out on this. Okay, so something I could choose to write about. Maybe I have some stories I want to share from the summer. Okay, maybe I want to share a story that just happened recently with Addie and Piper. Okay, maybe I want to talk about my favorite sport. Or maybe I just want to talk about my feelings today. Okay, so it doesn't have a plan. It's totally random. Okay, does not have to be anything special or particular, just things that mean something to you. Okay, and it helps to think about the things you enjoy to do and the people you love and spend time with. Okay, and like I've heard some of you are hunting and that kind of thing, so that's a great thing too, or the things you love to do, your hobbies. Okay, so then the next step said, after you have done your 2 Post-its, pick one of the ideas and write about and begin writing right away. In the classroom, we will set a timer for 15 minutes. Remember, this is stress-free. We just want growth mindsets on board. And we know you're going to need to be able to give some patience, okay? Don't quit. If you have to change ideas, that is always okay. And if you're not trying, you're doing a different goal, this is still your challenge to write 15 lines in that 15 minutes or more. Okay, so push yourself. See how much you can do today. Check your stamina. Okay, so when you do start writing in your writer's notebook, when we say margin to margin, left to right, we mean from here to here. Okay, so I'll go ahead and choose to write about Addie and Piper. Okay, I have 2 dogs. They are beagles, period. See how close I am to the red line? It's always okay if you go a little bit over that line. That's not a big deal at all. But as you come back, we're going to go all the way back to this red line. We don't want you writing crooked like this across your paper. We want you to go red line to red line. We want you to stay inside the lines. Okay? Addie is 7 years old. And I'm going to underline and because that was one of the things the authors challenged us with, to use a conjunction, like a word like and, to put a longer sentence together. So, oops, I forgot the I. Addie is 7 years old and Piper is 6 years old. They are the best of friends. Every day they lay in the window watching for me to come home, period. Okay, so see how I'm going red line to red line. I'm writing stress-free. I'm not stressing out. I'm not worried. And I just start writing about 2 of my favorite creatures. And I just start telling you guys. Okay, so this is your job today in writing. Okay, write for your first journal entry today. Okay, writers, you got this.